ESPN analyst Curt Schilling fired after sharing and commenting on a controversial social media post about transgenders. So the post showed a picture of a man wearing a wig and women's clothing with the caption reading, "Let him into the restroom with your daughter, or else you are a narrow-minded, judgmental, unloving, racist bigot who needs to die." Schilling commented, "A man is a man no matter what they call themselves. I don't care what they are, who they sleep with. Men's room was designed for the penis, women's not so much. Now you need laws telling us differently? Pathetic." For their thoughts, Deneen Borelli from the Conservative Review is here, as is Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke. Deneen, first and foremost, he does have a right to say what he wants, right? Freedom of speech?
He absolutely does have a right to voice his own views and his opinions, and he should not be punished by ESPN, which, by the way, is owned by Disney, which is a very progressive company, Deirdre. And they've actually recently threatened to move movie production from the state of Georgia because of the religious liberties bill. So very hypocritical, and I think there's also a huge double standard here.
Sheriff, I want to ask you from a security standpoint, that is one of your areas of specialties. How do you see this transgender issue? Is it a threat? Curt Schilling says, you know, would you want your children, which I understand, in the same room as an adult? What is your take on this, security only?
Well, you know, this thing is kind of interesting because, you know, we're talking about 0.3% of the population. When is the last time we had something that involves 0.3% of the population?
That's a great point, Sheriff.
Massive public policy shifts. But, you know, this isn't, I'll correct you a little bit, but I know what you mean. This is not a freedom of speech and not a First Amendment issue. This is a freedom of expression. You know, the hallmark of a democracy is that we can express ourselves in the public domain, and society will let us know if we've gone too far. But ESPN has every right to fire this guy. They can fire him for just about anything other than those protected things that are written into the law. But this stifles speech. This is a totalitarian movement. I'll read it here. It says, ESPN, this is their quote, is an inclusive company. Well, apparently they're not so inclusive to somebody else's view.
Yeah, that's well stated, Sheriff, and I'm glad you also brought out that 0.3% statistic. So, Deneen, following up on what the Sheriff said, obviously he's right on this, but I guess from a corporate standpoint, ABC, owner of Disney, has a right to say, okay, this is our brand, and we feel like in this particular instance, Curt Schilling was not gelled with our brands.
Well, again, he has the right to voice his own views and opinions, and as the sheriff mentioned, sure, they could fire him, which is what they have done, but I don't think that was the right move. And again, when you look at someone like Samuel L. Jackson, for example, who was very controversial and makes very controversial statements, he is a spokesperson for a bank, Capital One. He has yet to be removed from his spokesperson position. So again, there's a huge double standard here based on the individual and also based on the companies.
All right. Stay with me both, if you don't mind. We have a quick break to take, but we will continue the conversation in just a few moments.